All right, welcome to another edition of Hobby Quick Hits. This show is going to be a little different. I get asked, I do this show, I do Sports Card Nation, I do Hobby Hotline sometimes, about once a month on Saturday. I have a full-time job. I have Newman Sports Cards, which the last 2 years have been outstanding, incredible. And so I get a lot of people sometimes that DM me or email, what's your secret? How do you do it? When do you record? How do you do interviews? I think some of them are people just curious. I know a few others come from a place, maybe people considering content creation themselves and wanted to know how you make time. I guess they're worried or concerned about that. And so I got enough of those sort of inquiries. I said, you know what? Probably just easier to do a 10, 15-minute hobby quick hits, kind of cover that, maybe inject a few tips in there as well to not be, it's not glamorous. It's I'm a normal guy. I put my pants on one leg at a time. But, now getting into my third year of podcasting, I've learned some things. I learned by trial and error. I'm better, I believe, now than I was, almost 3 years ago. Not only just in content creation, but even in the business aspect of the hobby. I like to think at least the numbers bode that with downloads and sales. So if for nothing else, at least in those categories, maybe it's not me and it's just the nature of the beast and the error that we're in the hobby, and that might be the case, and I'm okay with that. I don't need any sort of credit. I don't need to trump myself up, but I want to kind of use this show kind of to give you sort of how my day and week goes. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible and as short-winded as I can, with being as detailed as I can, and again inject some tips in there that maybe you can utilize, whether you're a content creator or even if you're not a content creator. So, Hobby Quick Hits, this show comes out now on Mondays. Sports Card Nation comes out on Fridays. And so my day, almost every day of the work week, starts at 4:30 a.m. That's when I wake up. Take my dog Kane. He wakes up with me. Sleeps with me and my wife, and I'm the first one up at my house. And first thing I do is go to the restroom myself. Then take him outside so he can go to the restroom as well. And then I will bring him back upstairs and put him back in the room with my wife. Kind of close the door, take my shower, and then get ready for work and all that stuff. Make my coffee, gotta have my coffee, and I report to work at 6 a.m. And I teach a class with in the transportation field with new drivers and old drivers coming back to employment. I get them ready with the DOT rules, regulations, compliance, and it's a class that usually takes about 6 hours. They arrive. I don't have class every day, but on class days, they arrive at 7 a.m. So I'm there at 6, they get there at 7. So I sort of have an hour to just kind of do some work, paperwork, maybe some social media stuff. With Hobby Quick Hits, folks, a lot of times I will have 3 or 4 episodes recorded and in the bag ahead of time. If I get on a roll or a topic's in my mind, and I want to just, while it's fresh in my mind, I want to turn on the microphone here and record that. And on my record for recording episodes is probably one night I stayed up kind of late and did like 4 of them. Okay, I don't do that often. Maybe 1 or 2 at a time when I get that creative spark, if you will. Sports Card Nation, as you might know, is every Friday. We always have an interview guest. When are those interviews scheduled? It can be random. It can be during the week. It can be weekends. I do try to schedule them later. I do try to schedule them after 9 o'clock because everything's winding down at my house. My wife, who battles lupus, goes to bed earlier than me, and she'll go in there with the dog and get ready for bed, maybe watch a little TV, and it's an opportunity maybe for me to do that interview or even record my normal segments on Sports Card Nation or the Hobby Quick Hits you might be listening to. Matter of fact, if you're listening to this now, it is 10 o'clock and I am recording this episode. And so I record a lot of my stuff. I try to take my interviews later in the day. And there's many a day, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here. There's many a day I'm up to 12, maybe even 1 o'clock doing something and have to be up at 4:30, right? Just power through it. It's getting a little trickier the older I get to do that. And I don't do it all the time, but on some occasions I do. How does it work? What time do I get home? I generally get home between 4:30, 5 o'clock. I come home, I hang out with my family, we eat dinner, watch a little TV, talk, and maybe 7 or 8 o'clock I'll go up and let's talk about the Newman Sports Card side of the business. I average about 5 or 6 packages that have to go out each day. Now, that's random. So one day I could have 12 orders, and the next day I could have 2. So 5 or 6 is sort of the average. And there's rarely a day goes by where I don't have anything. It does happen, but it's very rare. Between sports lots, ComC, eBay, my website, my slabs, I shouldn't say ComC because they handle the shipping. But as far as for when I have to ship, eBay, my slabs, and my website, and sport lots. So I love the selling platforms that take care of the shipping for you. But even without those, I'm averaging 5 or 6 packages or parcels going out per day. Again, that's the average. One day might be 10, the other day might be 2, but it all works out to about 5 or 6. So I'll come upstairs here in my studio office about 7, 8 o'clock and get all those labels printed, all that stuff packaged out. I put business cards of everything, every show I do, including Hobby Hotline, in that package, get it ready, put it in my bag, my backpack to go out. Sometimes I have to use those big white postal service bins if I have too much, and have that ready to go. If it's a sort of a quieter shipping day, whether maybe I don't have any orders, which is rare, or just a couple where it doesn't take me too long to just get them packaged up and done, I may take that extra time to maybe record a segment of one of the 2 shows. I then usually, after about an hour or 2, I'll come back downstairs, kind of wind down the day with my family, who lives in my house, my wife, my son who's 21, and my mother-in-law. And so sort of wind down. They'll kind of get ready for bed. My son's, sometimes he's home. So he's a 21-year-old kid. So he's bopping around. He drives, has a lot of friends. And so he's in and out, And then about, again, 9:30, when my wife goes to bed, I'll come in here and do some, creative stuff, I like to think. And maybe if it's a real heavy shipping day, I might not get it done in that hour I allotted, and I have to continue and finish up and then record. When do I buy my stuff? Well, that's, I buy a lot of stuff locally, so I get a call or a text, hey, I got this, I got that, they'll send me pictures. And so those are sort of like interviews, right? I just go when I go and meet somebody and make a deal. Same thing with the interviews. The only rule I have in my house pertaining to content creation with my wife is we have a dry erase calendar, and whenever I schedule interviews or whenever it's my day to be on Hobby Hotline on Saturday morning, I have to put it on that dry erase calendar on the wall. That way everyone knows, hey, John at this Saturday or 2 Saturdays from now, from 10:30 to 12:30, he's going to be in the studio doing Hobby Hotline. On Tuesday night at 8 p.m., he has an interview that'll probably be an hour and a half unavailable. And so, I'm blessed with a wonderful wife that gives me the freedom. She always has. We've had a great arrangement even before I got into content creation. I used to play a lot more softball than I do now. I do play still today. Getting towards the end of my softball career, at least on with the younger guys level. There's a senior league I'll probably eventually go to. But basically the rule in our house with me and my wife is, as long as it doesn't screw up any existing plans, then that's fine, both ways. And just communicate when you're doing what, so we both know and we're both aware. And so if I got anything, hobby hotline, an interview scheduled, it goes on that dry erase calendar. How do I save some time in other places? Well, I'm not a message board guy, so I don't go on Blowout. I know a lot of people love it. I believe a lot of that information I can mine without spending the 2 or 3 hours there, right? Someone's going to come out and talk about it. There's going to be a Facebook post, which I read those and some Facebook boards. But I stay off the message boards. I've sort of cut down some of my social media time on like Twitter. I'll scroll, a little bit here and there, read what some people I follow intently, what they have to say. And try to be interactive as much as I can. But I've really kind of sort of cut down on a lot of that time, And so someone asked me, you buy stuff on eBay or you buy stuff from platforms. When do you do that? And this is sort of a funny story, or not a story, just a funny thing is I usually do a lot of my shopping, if you will, online when I wind down and go to bed. So my phone is also my alarm clock. I don't have an alarm clock. My phone just goes off at 4:30 and wakes me up to get ready to go to work. And so I take that phone to bed with me, probably like a lot of you do out there. And I do a lot of my eBaying and stuff on my phone. I always joke around sometimes, like I always get nervous. There's times I'll fall asleep in the middle of looking at eBay and whatnot, and that phone's in under the blankets or under me to be 100% transparent. I always have this big fear, like I'm going to buy it now on eBay by accident. I'm going to roll over on the phone or touch it or drop it. It's going to, I always wake up and check, make sure. I've never done it yet, knock on glass here. But a big fear is I'm always going to buy something in my sleep, if you will. How's that for trying to cancel the buy, right? We all laugh at those, eBay cancellation messages. My son purchased it, without me knowing. I thought it was something else. Mine would be, hey man, sorry. I sleeped bought the item when I didn't really want it. So always a fear, but haven't done it yet. And so I do a lot of that stuff, and then until I crash out and fall asleep. And so I just try to be economical with my time. Going back to the Newman sports cards side of things, I tend to buy. How do I want to word this? I want to be careful because I don't want to offend anyone. I'm not so much looking for quantity. I've done this 30, 40 years. I've had quantity. It's cool. I'm looking more for sort of the meat and potatoes of it. I'd rather buy 2 shoe boxes than 2 monster boxes where 10% of that monster box is marketable. And I know people are going to argue everything is marketable. I want stuff I can list more off of sports lots, if you get kind of my gist. So star cards, rookies, graded cards. And so I like to buy when someone's getting out, let's say, or collections, or they're just moving the part of their collection. I like those couple shoe boxes. I like those drugstore closeouts where it's 40 boxes of old wax and that sort of thing. I've bought those deals in the last a few years where it's just easier to go through. I don't have to look through 10,000 cards. I've got to look through 1,000 cards, right? Get them listed, be done with it. When they sell, package them up. We already talked about that aspect. And so I've just really kind of streamlined my time, even with some of my posts. Not all my posts. I don't want to make it sound like I'm a ghostwriter, but some of the posts that I post on social media, I auto schedule them. So, I talk about when I'm winding down and I'm in bed with my phone, I will actually schedule automatic posts for the next day using like Hootsuite or Buffer. And, might be, hey, coming Friday on the show is so-and-so. That might be a scheduled post, or, even card of the day, or, hey, I just bought these, check these out. I love them. This is, things like that. Not all of them, but sometimes a good percentage of them are sort of auto scheduled. So it looks, sometimes someone who follows the show, Twitter or Instagram, says, man, he's posting a lot. Does he work? A lot of those are sort of auto scheduled. So it looks like I'm literally on my phone posting them, but a lot of times I had them already like in the shoot the night before, and those automators sort of, fire them out there when I put the time in to do it. So I try to be economical with my time. I don't want to be immersed in this too much. I want to, I love my hot tub. I love going out on my deck, smoking a cigar. I have a drone, a nice drone that I like to take up, to 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, film the city I live in, the lake, and all that stuff. I have a lot of different things outside the hobby I like to do. I play softball. So I need to make time for all that. I'm fortunate, I guess, as much as I miss my son being, 12 years old, 10 years old, in Little League and Pop Warner and coaching him. One of the things now with him being an adult at 21 and kind of working and coming and going, like a young man and driving, while I miss him being that little boy, it also allows me some of the freedoms to do the things I do as well. So went a little bit longer than I initially anticipated. I hope you took something from that. Maybe a tip would, be careful on message boards. Be careful on social media. You start scrolling and 1 hour it becomes 3 hours. And you're like, where did the time go? I gotta go to bed now. And it really wasn't really very productive. And I'm not saying I've never done that. I've learned the hard way what not to do, and I've kind of cleaned my act up, so to speak, if you will. So some insight. If you have any further questions, I get these questions: how do you do it? What do you do? How do you tape? When you tape? If you have any stuff like that, that's you're wondering. I'm a pretty transparent guy. I won't always advertise exactly how much I sell. I think I've done that on 2 occasions. I said what I sold the 101 Ripken for a couple months back, and then I think last year during the boom of 2020, something I rarely do. I gave how much I had made at the 6-month mark, which was significant. I think I was just so shocked myself that I just threw it out there. I typically do not give financials out too much for obvious reasons, right? Like I tell my son, don't brag. Don't tell your friends what's here. Don't tell you, what kind of inventory. Even though you're friends, they tell someone else. The wrong person hears that, and we got problems here that I don't want. Not that I can't handle business, but let's not have to handle business. So, just some things, just sort of a day a week in how we do things here. If you have any other questions, I'm very, like I said, very transparent. Would love to help you out, answer them, give you some pointers. Might work for you. That's the other thing in closing. Might work for me and for you. not your thing, right? That's, it is what it is. But what I said today sort of works for me. It's my MO, and you might take something from it, you might not. So with that being said, I hope you're doing well out there, and we'll see you Friday on Sports Card Nation, or we'll see you again on Hobby Quick Hits here next Monday. Thanks for listening. Take care. We'll see you later. Hey folks, thanks for listening to the show. Wanted to give out our social media links where you can follow the show even when you're not listening to it. On Twitter, we are at Hits Hobby, HitsHobby. On Instagram, we are at Hobby Quick Hits Podcast, at Hobby Quick Hits Podcast, all one word. Our website is www.sportscardnation.net. Look for the link to Hobby Quick Hits. You'll find us there. And you can always text us on our text line, area code 315-491-0239.